Audio introduction to Summer May Henry. One of a series of Home in Conversation with. The film begins with a view of one of the empty auditoria at Home, Manchester. The seats are an array of colours, either orange, yellow, maroon, or the occasional purple. Then the woman whose voice we hear is shown seated in the theatre, from just above the waist up. Summer May is a fair-skinned, mixed-race young woman of 24, with her golden, tight curls pulled back with a black hairband. She wears silver earrings and a silver necklace, and a brown blouse in a stretchy fabric, the top 2 buttons undone. She has large dark eyes, wears a touch of orangey-red lipstick, several rings, and has some subtle tattoos on her arms. The film cuts between head and shoulder shots of Summer May speaking directly to us and of photos of her and her work. These include a photo of Summer May holding up a poster for a Queen and Slim exhibition and after-party. A photo of the colourfully designed box of a creative art station with paints and pencils. A poster for Black History Month with the title Black in Fashion. A drawing in white on brown of a black face with orange hair and blue makeup on the eyes. Graphic design in books and magazines. Colourful designs on 2 black hoodies. A poster design for a Manchester International Festival event, A Conversation for Change, with the lettering over a large orange sun against a dark background. A poster for an event entitled Civic Chain, and a photo of a logo for RX Ignite. The letters full of colour and patterns, laid over a view of the exchange interior, with lights twinkling in the dome above. There are also photos of Summer May in the foyer at Home, Manchester, surrounded by her artwork and designs for Black History Month at Home.
My name's Summer May Henry and I am a full-time packaging designer, currently working in the beauty industry, but most of my career and training has been in toy design, and I'm also a freelance designer outside of work as well, working on a range of projects in all sort of industries, to be honest. I've been working in the creative industry for like 3 years now, so straight away since I left university I've been working with clients in my free time and taking on different jobs to like really build up my portfolio. And then a few months after leaving work is when I got into the packaging design, which sort of became like my niche in the creative industry then, but still doing my work in the evenings to really expand my portfolio. And as I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do yet and what I wanted like my niche of it to be, just really working on a broad range of projects to keep my options open and just like really figure out what I wanted to do in the creative industry and what felt best for me. For me, getting into the creative industry, it's just something I always knew I wanted to do. Like even choosing my options in high school, it was like I did like film and media, and there was like, I enjoyed the other subjects, but it was always like I knew I wanted to do something creative. So just sort of going through my education, I always chose something creative and something that felt like it would be fun and I would enjoy it. When I got to university, I honestly went for graphic design just because I wanted to move to Manchester and like to a big city, and it just felt like the course that would be the most to me. So with the packaging design, what I do is I'm gonna sort of look at the product that's there, think about what that product does and how best to display that on the packaging. So with kids' toys, there's obviously like a lot that goes into it. You've got to think about the photography, product development, lots of stuff like that, and bringing it all together and putting it on something that on the shelf people aren't just going to walk past, they're going to stop. And I've recently moved into beauty, so that's quite different. It's more thinking about what the age range of people want. So it's like young, but obviously not as young as kids' toys, and just thinking what's trendy and in fashion. I started working with Black in Fashion back in about 2019 when it all started, and it was started by a girl called Faya. She's sort of like our founder, and it's so fun to, it's sort of like, there's about 5 or 6 of us, all different girls from different disciplinaries. So there's like photography, sort of like writing, design, styling, and we all came together and sort of like utilised our skills to put on events for other people. So it's like events, we do them in person, online, even just sort of like meetups, sort of just to like bring together a community and, you know, sort of like networking. People can come and like they can meet people who are all in that same industry and space, so which I think is always so helpful. Working with those guys just really helped me, and it was great to be around like such an uplifting group of girls, really all just like working to help each other and uplift people. And yeah, it just brought so many amazing opportunities for me. When I'm doing my work at home, sort of like freelance jobs, especially if it's like illustration or design, for me a lot of my inspiration comes from like just like sort of really eccentric patterns. I will always draw a lot of like black figures, and I think that's just been so nice for me in sort of getting that artwork out there, especially for Black History Month and home. But taking inspiration, I think really, especially when you're doing design, it comes from everywhere. So for me, even just walking down the street and you'll see like a beautiful pattern somewhere, and I think taking pictures of everything, because it's always great to go back and have those references. So I've done freelance outside, and this has also like really trained me up. So I do a lot of illustration and sort of like poster design, digital design, and it really just encompasses all of those skills. And it really is, yeah, just telling that story and using the design to sort of like sell that to the consumer. But yeah, my work outside of this, like in the evenings, has really helped. When I did the branding for Black History Month for home, that was such a fun project, and really it was mainly about the illustration and telling a story about how it is to be black, and just bringing together unifying words and just a strong message really, but combining that with an illustration. So that was fun to work on, and the process was just seeing how it's, especially thinking about the colour palette and how those words are displayed, that again is going to get people looking at it and sort of give a feel about what the whole month and events in store are going to be about, and how it's going to project that voice. I would say honestly, like one of the main highlights of my career would be working with home and branding the Black History Month, because I think, especially as like a confidence thing for me, it was such a boost, like having such a huge company come to me and wanting to work with me. And then also my latest job, so I only started like a week ago, but sort of I knew I wanted to get into the packaging side of like graphic design, but getting the job in like the beauty industry really like felt amazing, because I'd worked so long and so hard, and it really felt like my dream job had kind of just started. I would say the most challenging part of my career is honestly like looking for jobs. I think it can feel like, I don't know what the right word is, like down-putting, and make you feel bad about yourself when you apply for so much, because I think the creative industry is so like populated, and so many people are going for the same jobs that like it's hard not to feel like knocked down when you don't get a job. But it's like you have to just remind yourself the same thing. It's like there's so many people out there wanting that same job. I just try and think like when I get a job, it's because it's the right one for me, and like if I didn't get it, it's because something better is going to come along soon. I've learned working in the creative industry, I've had to sort of like change the way I look at things, so it not like taking things too personally, because I think obviously you're showing your work to people and you're so happy with it, but everything is subjective. Like just because I like something doesn't mean other people are going to like it. And I think at first it sort of like knocks your confidence a bit, but yeah, you just have to remember that it's like they only want what's going to be best and what's sort of going to sell the best and look the best. So yeah, you just have to remember that it's not personal to you, it's the work's got to be done. So for me, starting out in my career, I was really lucky in the fact that I worked with a collective called Black in Fashion. So for me, we all started and we were putting on like events and like uplifting people in the Black community. So working with them was so great for me because people saw the work that I was doing as the designer and sort of doing illustrations for them, and people started coming to me from there. So it was like they already knew what sort of designer they were looking for and what they wanted. So honestly, that was great for me and just provided me with so many great opportunities, and it's such a great thing to be a part of. I think as sort of the industry expands, there's becoming more jobs available, but I think it's still such a hard place to break into. But I think people starting these sort of initiatives and sort of providing people with opportunities to boost them and get those starter positions in the creative industry is really helping. I think a good place to find creative opportunities that really match what you want to do is especially like online, and just finding those sort of communities. Like it can be hard at first, but like collating your Instagram feed, so when you go on it's like full of creative things, and even just searching online like creative meetups in Manchester, and it's like you really just never know who you're going to meet there. For me, if I've ever sort of thought about changing career and direction, it would be that like when looking for new jobs, I think in say the sort of first job I had out of university, like I wasn't happy there and didn't feel like I had the support and stuff, but I knew I couldn't just leave my job. So sort of having to stay there whilst applying for jobs and getting those rejections was really hard. So I started to think like, do I want to do graphic design anymore? Like, you know, if everywhere's going to be like this, is this actually what I want? It's just sort of like holding on and thinking that company that is going to be great for me like will come along. The most important piece of advice I've received going on, like working through my career, is not to take everything to heart, and you put yourself into everything, but don't feel like it's a personal attack at you when things sort of don't go your way, but you don't get what you initially wanted. Because when I first started out in my career and I wasn't used to it, people coming back with amends all the time and changes, like it does get to you because you've created that work and you're happy with it, so you think, why would they not like it? Which is quite hard at first, but I think sort of the more you get it, the more resilient you are to it. And as you see that, as I've worked with like a range of clients and in a range of companies, I see that everyone does it, and it's not realistically like in the design world, you're never just going to send something off and they're going to be like first time, amazing, job done. Like everything is always going to have changes to get to that final stage. It's never just going to be the first draft and it's done. So when you realise that, I think you don't take it personally. If I was to give advice to like younger Black creatives breaking into the industry, is that obviously you want to take on sort of as much work as you can, but really what you want is to build your portfolio. So it's like only taking on the stuff that feels valuable to you. Don't just do jobs because they're there or you feel like you should. Just do what feels right for you, and also not underselling yourself. Like never do a job for like really minimal amount of money. Like you might feel like you need to at the time, but like you need to get paid, and you need to get paid right. It's not fair to work for scraps basically. So really just understanding your value and your worth, and sort of realising what you want to do. Especially I think in graphic design, it's quite a broad industry. So if you can find something that really feels right for you, something quite niche, then I think that's even better, and just working towards it. I would say sort of specific skills and stuff in the design industry. Honestly, a lot of it is like the computer softwares you're going to use. So I think if you get a head start on learning like the Adobe package, sort of like mainly Photoshop and Illustrator and kind of InDesign, I think they're the ones that really, like most jobs, you're going to need basic knowledge in those to sort of get your way in. So I think I know there's sort of online training you can do. Like I watch a lot of like free YouTube videos, which is always so helpful, because I think going into an interview and showing that you have those skills and you understand the softwares really is a lot, because you're going to be expected to use them there, so having that head start. My sort of words of inspiration would be always stay positive. I think I've spoken a lot about having that mindset, and it's really like doing something creative, you need to believe in yourself, because not everyone's always going to. So if you really know deep down that what you do is amazing and you know your value and your worth, then no one can tell you otherwise, really. Like if someone says something, it's just going to like roll off your back, because you always know that what you do is the best and to the best of your capabilities. So just trying your hardest and always staying confident and strong in what you believe.